language that I speak includes English, Chinese, and Russian. I do consider Chinese language to be a big asset in terms of work for all international students. Well, my personal experience has been that Chinese is very important, I think, and not just in Taiwan, but also internationally. You take the advantage of the time that you're spending in Taiwan to both learn a technical specialty, but also to learn the language. I think it would be a huge help for you in the future. Without the language, I think I wouldn't have the opportunity even to be in the company. If you can learn Chinese while you're in Taiwan, I would say go for it and do not hesitate. It's really great. It will help you enormously in the future. And not just in Taiwan, when you go back to your country, like I know from my experience that Russia has a lot of opportunities for those who speak Chinese, and you want to make sure that you don't pass this up. And second is urge you to really value reputation at every position that you have, at every job that you have. Value reputation starting from now. But also remember that if you are working for some company and you're trying to change jobs, the human resources department of that next company that you're planning to apply for is very likely to call your current company or your current boss and ask how you've been performing, right? It's very normal practice in all companies, especially big companies. So make sure you don't leave any bad stains on your reputation. But best of all, of course, make sure that your reputation is clean, that it's something that you are proud of. It will also help you in the future. As students, if you can forge a very good bond with your professors, with the staff, it will benefit you incredibly in the future. If you want to get a position, many of those positions are introduced by staff and professors. So if you can forge a bond with your professors, it will help you incredibly.
I took a course in my last semester. It was a senior year, the second semester, and it was called Civil Engineering Internship. And it was a combination of seminars and courses that will end up in a summer internship. I thought this would be a great initiation towards a potential job here in Taiwan. I did my summer internship at CECI, a civil engineering consultant, for 2 months. And after that, I wrapped up. I took my summer credits and was able to finally get my diploma. I used a couple of platforms: 104, 1111, LinkedIn, and Indeed. The first two are Taiwan-based. They do have some reach for positions based abroad, not in Taiwan. But the rest are more common to the rest of the world.
First option is like through university announcement or department announcement. And it's obviously that they will send us like an email if there is like recruitment for especially international students. And second option is, I would say, about like alumni connection, because like we are especially from NTU and we are full of resources. There were several things that I considered that time. First of all, location. Just give you like some idea that like how far that you're willing to commute every day. Are you willing to live outside Taipei? Because like me personally, I don't want to live outside Taipei because of comfort reason. But yeah, just for your consideration. And second, salary and benefits. Make sure that the company that you apply for can hire you and can give you like at least a basic minimum wage that it's required by the government. And the third consideration was company reputation. At that time, I only chose like big companies because like I thought like big companies tends to have like international exposure. Maybe like after 2 or 3 weeks, they will give you like an offer letter to your email. And I would suggest that you should read it more carefully, and especially like if you have like more than one offer, and you have like 14 days to consider before you sign the contract. And this is very beneficial, especially if you're also waiting for another company to give you an offer. After you get the job, I would say congratulations, and make sure that you make friends with your coworkers, and do not be afraid to ask your coworkers or seniors or managers. And so this is the end of my presentation. You can reach me by the email below, and wishing you all the best for your job hunting. For your information, maybe just some update. We have like 6-month opportunity to stay in Taiwan after your graduation, starting from your certificate graduation. And if I'm not mistaken, you can like extend for another 6 months. So basically, you have like 1 year opportunity to stay in Taiwan and just to find a job. So don't be stressed, just relax.
There's a standard for the Ministry of Labor here in Taiwan for you to be hired as a foreign professional. There are ways in which a company can decide to hire you. There's something called the point-based system, and there's just let's say fast track. The fast track requires you to either have a master's degree and achieve a minimum figure per month salary. Let's take the case of those who are recently graduating. There's a chance that the company may or may not offer this figure on a monthly basis. But don't be dismayed. There are other ways, and this is where the famous point system comes in. It's a system of criteria. It works like this in other countries. It also works like this for immigration purposes. As I was saying, in which you achieve certain criteria for you to be hired. These include your skill set as an individual, your experience, and other things that add up to a minimum of points. But if you obtain a minimum score, the Workforce Development Agency will be able to issue a work permit with you.
International perspective, if you can demonstrate that you have a way of looking at things that is different from local standards, yes, I think that will give you an edge. And so basically, try to demonstrate somewhere where you can say that because I'm from a different country, I can think outside of the box, and I can offer a solution that maybe a local student or a local graduate cannot offer. About languages, yes, I do have experience with the Russian language. We actually had a project I was required to speak Russian with, but I think that was an exceptional situation. I think in CECI, under normal circumstances, I think Indonesian, Malaysian, Vietnamese, or Southeast Asian languages. In Taiwan has some of the projects in Africa. In many regions of the world, like for example in Africa, people speak great English. So there is no need for local languages.
If I would have to describe it as an advantage, I would say that it gives you a different mindset and a way to approach a language that you may not be fully familiar with yet.
Yes, in my company is dominated by male, and maybe so far, like I would say that I am not assigned to go to site a lot, like compared to like male coworkers, because like in my company, like normally they are assigned to go to site like at least 1 month if they are males, but not females. I guess like maybe like female, we go to the site sometimes, but we will be accompanied with our project leader or something like that, so we will not be left alone there, I guess.
I know that in our company, for example, I know that there's a difference in what's offered to a bachelor degree holder versus a master's degree holder. I'm not sure what the amount is, so like can you give me a specific number? I think there is no difference actually in master's degree holder and PhD holder, if I'm not mistaken.
I think that the same applies in our company. There's probably a difference. I'm also unaware of the specific gap in terms of compensation. But I would say that with time, experience will become equally valuable, if not even more than actually having degrees. So this is something to be mindful about.
It is quite feasible to close the gap by experience.
Again, it would depend on the industry, of course, but I would say that it's something that's achievable, yes.
But I think you now have a good opportunity to practice with your Taiwanese colleagues. So that's very important, interact with Taiwanese students. And that will also become your future resource. If they find a job, then they can refer you also. But I try to say, don't worry about the language that much, because if the company decide to hire you, then they will understand your situations and give you time to improve.